Hey everybody, it's the Honey Badger, and today we're gonna be jumping back into the next, what I'd call kind of a big project. Specifically, we're gonna be working on the chassis, correcting rust and making it so long-term we don't have problems with it, because that's about the only thing that will take this off the road. We'll hop underneath it in 1 second. We'll go over what it looks like, along the rails, in the rear and at the front. Let's start by taking things off the vehicle and let's hop underneath and see how everything looks. All right, we got the rear bumper off. It wasn't too difficult. That's always nice. We did break a couple of small bolts, but I already found replacements online. They're like $2, so no worries there. As we can tell, obviously we do have the surface rust. We got paint, obviously that's flaying up and chipping off with a little bit of metal as well. Not atrocious, but obviously not good. Again, the rear of the vehicle is gonna be the worst. So I expect it to be, looking this way. We're gonna start to knock some of this stuff off. We're not just gonna pull it off with our fingers, but we're gonna knock some of it off with some tools, make it better. We'll make the surface a little bit easier to work on, and we'll get it taken care of. Okay, a little bit of a VO update to the progress. We are primarily using a needle scaler to remove most of the rust. Yes, that is a fantastic tool to be using for this job. I did try a couple of different tools, including grinders with specific like scrubber wheels for rust. It worked pretty good too. That works well in certain flat areas, but when you get into intricate corners or you just want to really blast off the rust, the needle scaler is the best. I also even tried a little bit of sandblasting, and that worked well, but made a huge mess, and overall would be probably super time consuming compared to the needle scaler. So that's what I would recommend. I'll leave you a link to what I used in the description, but that worked best. And we'll jump back into the audio in the video now. I didn't really record a whole lot of the actual process of getting the rust removed from the chassis itself, but that's basically where we're at this point, mostly because it took a while. I broke it up over multiple days and just took my time with it to make sure I did a good job of getting what I could removed to get down to. Now, we don't need to go to bare metal per se, but to get at least all of the heavy corrosion off or all of the flaky stuff. So, it was a pain in a few spots. I did take things off, like bump stops. I've disconnected things and pulled them out so we have better space to get access to a few things. So removed a lot of the stuff that's in the way. All right, so here are the next two components that we need. We have our cleaner degreaser. We'll mix, I think it's a 4-to-1 ratio of this with hot water. So 4 parts hot water to 1 part degreaser. And we'll spray the chassis and we'll pull out in the driveway and do that and then rinse it off. And then after that, we'll do metal prep. Similar concept, we'll follow the instructions and we'll do a similar thing where we coat it and let it sit for a duration of time. I think this is 10 to 20 minutes or something like that. And then we will also rinse that off as well. And then after these two parts are done, we will start to put on the actual POR treatment. Also, you're very much going to want to get eye protection and honestly a respirator. If you look at how unbelievably dirty that is all of the rust and debris that was in the air while needle scaling and breaking all that stuff up. You will have a lot of it. This is actually the second filter I've replaced in these two. So these start white and now they are very much rusty colored. So yeah, it's pretty gross. Definitely, I'll link you all this type of stuff that you'll need if you don't have any of this stuff. I highly recommend having this available. All right, now let's go over where we're at with everything. So we've done the degreaser, we've done the metal etch. What that metal etch is gonna do, and this is a good thing, you'll notice in spots we're now getting flash rusting. This is what we want. That etcher is gonna do that to the exposed metal, and that gives the POR15 something to grab onto. So getting flash rust on any bare metal is actually what you want. That gives it a better adhesion point. So we're just letting this now all finish drying, and then we'll be able to jump underneath it and start coating it. So we're gonna get to that in just a moment, but everything's going well. Prep work's basically done for the 2/3 of the vehicle. We're not doing the front yet. We're gonna kind of do this in 2 steps, but we're gonna be good to go, and we'll start getting that coating of the first coat of POR15 done in a second, and then we'll do a second coat, maybe a third, we'll see. All right, bit of an update. We have the first coat on and it's looking decent. I don't know if the lighting's crap. It's very, very bright from one direction, but regardless, it is one coat on there. It's looking pretty good. It's gonna take another coat still. And yeah, I don't know, it takes a long time. I'm gonna just be honest. This is definitely taking longer than I thought. So just being patient. I'll probably move it back into the garage in a little bit and do the second coat in there because mostly just needed to do the washing out here. But yeah, I don't know. It's looking pretty good. It doesn't look as rusty. You definitely need that rust to have it bond and adhere. But yeah, that's looking better. We'll get a second coat on there. And don't worry, we do have something we're gonna do to treat what is inside, because obviously we can't get it in there, but I have something different. We'll go over that in just 1 second after we get this part taken care of. Okay, it is the next day and the coats have really come along. They look really, really good. Everything looks pretty uniform. Coverage also looks pretty good overall too. Pretty happy with the way this is actually looking now. So the next thing we need to do is we need to get inside and get to all of the stuff in there that we need to get coated, because if we don't get anything on the inside, we still could rust out from the inside, which obviously would not be, you know, at this rate, still having the outside protected is good, but we need the inside protected as well. And to do that, we got some of this. We have a few cans of the Eastwood Internal Frame Coating Plus. Now, we're gonna use this to spray inside the frame so we can get every nook and cranny this way, or else otherwise, like I said, long term, probably not gonna work out too well. So we're gonna use this, but spraying it just directly from this can, it's not gonna be perfect. Luckily, they do come with this attachment and this long tube, and then at the very end of it, I don't know if you'll see it, and it's probably not gonna focus, it's actually got a tip that sprays in basically a 360-degree pattern. So it'll spray everywhere all at once. So what we'll do is in multiple areas, we'll basically feed this into the frame and we'll send it down it, and then as you spray, you'll pull it back slowly and it's gonna coat everything evenly. So we'll do it on both sides of this rear section, and then we'll also run it down every entry point that we have a good spot to get a good run going down the chassis too. So we'll feed it in there, we'll pull it out and spray all the way back too. So that'll hit everything. So the main thing to do at this point, which I've already done, is to get all the crud that's loose inside any of your frame areas out, which we did before we even did this coating. But if you have, you know, compressed air, or if you even have like a leaf blower, that'll help blow any dirt, any debris. You want as much loose stuff out of the way so it's got as much, you know, sticking contact to just nothing that's gonna be loose and cause you problems. So that's what we're gonna use. This would also be able to get you into hard to reach places if you're having a hard time getting, you know, this coating that we already did and other spots too. So it's pretty handy. We're gonna go ahead and start that, and we'll get some coats done on this section of the frame. All right, we've got our coating done on the inside of the chassis. I'll try to point a light in there. It's a little hard to do both, but you can see it's kind of glossy, shiny black right now because it's drying up. But that's what we did up and down. And then obviously we left drips in the driveway. We'll just pressure wash all the drips that go all the way up the side of the vehicle on both sides. But for the most part, we now have the rear, I'd say 2/3 of the vehicle done for the most part. We only really have about 1/3 of the front left. Now, we did not do the front at the same time just because I thought it'd be easier to break this up into 2 projects, and we'll just mesh in where we stopped up at the front. Because the back's the worst. The front's really not that bad. We're gonna just really hit up a few spots and we'll do exactly the same thing that we did for this back half. And this might be kind of an odd point to jump back in, but we actually have lapsed time a little bit. We've actually finished up all of the underside of the POR15 coating across the front of the GX. That was a lot easier to do because, like I said, we did, you know, about 80% of the vehicle in the last little bit at the front. Was not as much. Also wasn't quite as bad in spots as well compared to the back, and that kind of makes sense too for road grime and the way everything kind of gets kicked up in water and moisture and all of that. The other thing we did, obviously, was the Eastwood spray inside the channels of the tube chassis as well. So that's all been finished 2, the last step is now this step. We need to do this cavity wax plus coating. Now what this is actually going to do for us is quite literally, it's going to be a sprayable wax that's going to coat the interior part of the chassis. So that's going to prevent water from sitting since it's a wax. They say to do 3 coats of this, and it comes with those long tube nozzle extensions as well, like the Eastwood. So we'll put this into the tube chassis. We'll spray it down multiple times. We're going to start with the rear of the vehicle because that's the worst when it comes to water and long-term protection. But we got a couple cans of this. I think it'll do pretty much the whole chassis for us, but we're gonna go ahead and jump in and start applying this one. And then this thing's gonna be all buttoned up and it's gonna be protected. And realistically, we're gonna probably watch it long-term and see if we notice any trouble spots, but we could always spray more of this in the future and probably on other components underneath if we just wanna repel water and help it kind of survive through the winters. So let's jump underneath, let's get this sprayed and button up this project. And there we have it. We're all buttoned up on this project. Now, this was a bit of an undertaking, but a necessary undertaking if I want to keep this on the road for the next 5 to 10 more years at least. So maybe we can put another 250,000 miles on it over the years, but we needed to do this to make sure that this stays on the road. So I'm pleased with the results. I think things turned out really, really well. It was a lot of work, but definitely worth it. Everything I used is in the description. Like I said, 2 cans of the 3M spray was enough for what I needed. I might grab another one actually and do some stuff underneath the chassis that wasn't inside the rails, because we used both those cans for inside the chassis actual tubes itself. So maybe grab another one and we'll use it in the future for some other coatings. But it worked great. I'm really pleased with it and I'm pleased with the results overall. But if you found this video helpful, please leave a like on it. It helps others find it, especially if you found it helpful. It most likely would help them as well. And then make sure you're subscribed. We'll have more videos coming out soon, and keep up to date with what's going on the channel. But other than that, I'll just see all of you guys in the next video.